Yeah.
Hey, well, so Trey, your nickname is Bone. We're gonna start with that. Where does that come from? I always want to know. I'm like, we like, well, Bone. I'm like, who's Bone?
It's just random. It didn't really come from no specific place. My guy, everybody know, got a tight circle. My guy Jay Kelly, came up with it when probably about 2010. He started calling me that, and it stuck, and just been running with it since then. So about 15 years strong now, just been Bone for the most part.
That's crazy. So it ain't no story, no weird story behind that?
Nah, it's no weird story. Well, it is kind of a weird story, but we'll save that for later.
That's good. All right, so tell us about your roots, man, growing up. Well, did you grow up in Rocky Mount or Nashville?
In Rocky Mount.
Okay, so growing up in Rocky Mount, when did basketball become a true calling for you? And what was the moment that made you like, okay, I know I'm in love with this game?
I knew I was in love with it from a young age. My parents put me in sports from the time I was about 5 or 6 years old up until I was able to play school sports. And they put us in everything. Like me and my brother both, we played football, basketball, and baseball.
Right.
I ended up growing out of baseball a little bit once I got a little older, probably a little bit before middle school. But basketball and football was just something that was mandatory. Like, I ain't gonna say it was mandatory, but in our household, like, we both did, and we did it heavy. And like I said, I wouldn't say knowing it was actually gonna be something that I was gonna do for a long time, probably until about the 9th grade when I didn't play football anymore. And I had the success that I did on the court my 9th grade year, and it kind of just went from there.
Okay. Well, talk about your childhood and growing up, and who were some of your early role models, man?
The obvious guys like Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson and Kobe. Like I said, I grew up in that era. I was a young kid when the Lakers were winning their first championships in the early 2000s, and just seeing that and watching that basketball. I remember Carmelo Anthony. I remember to this day, a lot of people don't know, like, now you can just, technology is crazy. You can just pull up however you want it.
Right.
But I remember recording the national championship game when Syracuse played Kansas.
Yeah.
When you had to put the tape over the little hole, like if you wanted to record over, could be on regular tape on VHS.
Right.
But I want to record over this movie, and I don't want it no more, so I put the tape over and record it. And I remember recording that game and just going. I probably seen that national championship game probably 25 times.
Oh, that's crazy.
So like just little things like that. Growing up, just watching sports all together. Like to this day, I just told you before I came in here. I watch football all day today. So like it's still in me to this day, even though basketball ended up being my thing. I just still love to watch sports.
Right. That's dope. So let's talk about. We got the ball right here. You see my boy Trey had to bring and let us know, man. But Nash Central, man, you was a walking bucket, bro. Averaging 23.6 your senior year, all-time leader in Nash Central history in points, steals, and assists. 4-time All-Conference selection, the new 6 Co-Conference Player of the Year with our guy Jeremy Atkinson from an early episode, and also was selected to the NC South Carolina All-Star game, man. Talk about that run, man, and what it meant to you.
Nash Central was a real different, and my high school career was kind of weird because Nash Central wasn't built until I was in middle school. So growing up, I always thought that I was going to end up going to Northern from where I stayed at, and that's where my brother went to school and he graduated from. So when they built Nash Central and the coach's situation went the way it went, Coach Mosley just was always a guy of high character who was in this area well respected and knew the game of basketball pretty well. So I was already staying in that Central District. So my dad just kind of just made a decision, like, if we're going to do the sports thing, like basketball, we know for sure is going to be one of your avenues. Like, I want you to play under him when you're playing basketball. So end up going to Nash Central. Thought I was gonna probably play JV, like I ended up being in the era of some of the best high school basketball.
It was a real deal back then.
Yeah, it really was. Like not even just in Rocky Mount, like you said, Wilson County,
Kinston.
like Kinston, everywhere.
Yeah, Greene County. I mean, it was serious basketball
all over North Carolina.
Yeah,
and so like I said, I ended up going to Nash Central, and from the start, I ended up starting. I wasn't supposed to start my 9th grade year to start the season, but we ended up having somebody on suspension. First game of the year, I ended up having 25 points. We ended up losing that game, but I ended up having a great game, my first ever game in high school. And from there, it was me and another guy, Mike Spate. We both were freshmen starting on varsity. And my game that day was so well that Coach Mosley just had to go with the decision from now on. When the guy came back from suspension of the 9th grade, it's just going to be you just going to start, Trey, and then my career just ended up going from there. And like I said, we talked about Jeremy being the co-player of the year that senior year. A lot of people don't know. I like to say myself, I feel like Jeremy stole 2 conference player of the years from me that year.
You know what's crazy? Before we got in here, I got off the phone with him. And I said, and he said, well, Trey stole that last one from me. He said it's an ongoing joke between you.
Yeah, so our sophomore year, he won Conference Player of the Year as well. And we went undefeated. And I led our team in scoring. Probably, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but probably averaged about 20 that year. And he still won Conference Player of the Year. And then my senior year, I had to split it with him. So, like I said, he stole 2 from me, for real. But nah, Jeremy, cool, good dude. But nah, like you said, you can't argue with them numbers that Jeremy was putting up, man. 100%. And then what he went to JUCO and did, being National Player of the Year, and then obviously his professional career was great. So, like I said, that was around a time where, like I said, it was uncommon for 9th graders to be starting on varsity.
100%.
And we had them at a couple of schools in the area, like Bobo, Alonzo Sharp was starting at Rocky Mount. Him and Montreal Battle both played varsity. I know Jared played varsity with Jeremy at Fight that year. Like I said, me and Mike Spate both played and started on varsity at Net Central. And I want to say it was one other in the conference, but it was like I said, it was a wave of guys during that time that was starting on varsity in 9th grade, and that was kind of like unheard of for real.
Yeah, just super talent, man.